We're good.
All right, here are the tunes. You have a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gotta restart that 1 second.
It's time for Success Profiles Radio with your host, Brian K. Wright. Have you ever wondered if there's more to life than you're currently living? Then Success Profiles Radio is the program for you. Every week, we'll explore different aspects of success and how to apply them to your life. Guests will come from many different backgrounds, including expertise in leadership, business, relationships, careers, networking, health, overcoming adversity, and much more. Every show is a dose of inspiration. This is Success Profiles Radio. And now, here's your host, Brian K. Wright.
Hello and welcome to Success Profiles Radio. I'm your host, Brian K. Wright, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. I'm honored that you chose to spend part of your day with me here, and this is going to be a fantastic show. I'll be introducing my guest shortly, and I promise we're going to have a lot of fun today. I do want to take a minute or two to share some things I've been learning and thinking about lately, and I will usually do this every single week. Lately, I've been thinking about the idea of asking for what you want. One of the reasons for this is because one of my favorite books is The Aladdin Factor by Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield. It's about this exact topic, the power of asking for what you want. It may seem simple, but the truth is that a lot of people don't ask for what they want because they may have self-limiting beliefs around whether or not people want to help, or even that we don't feel like we deserve the help we want. We won't reach our highest levels of success without the cooperation of others, and that frequently involves asking. So ask yourself today what you want to accomplish and who you need to help you. Then ask, be specific, and ask someone who is actually capable of granting your request. You will be so glad you did. And if you've not picked up my latest book, it is called The Greatest Lessons I Learned from My Coach. It is on Amazon. I would be honored if you would pick that up, if you would read it, and even get multiple copies for people you care about. Christmas is coming, and it's a great gifting idea for your entrepreneur friends. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. His name is John Jubilee. He is the founder of Energized Health, which was named to the Inc. 5000 list of America's fastest growing private companies for the second year in a row. His faith-based approach to wellness has helped thousands of people 55 and over to reclaim their energy, reverse symptoms of chronic disease, and live life with renewed purpose. He has become a trusted voice on how spiritual alignment and cellular health work hand in hand. His proven protocol has transformed lives by addressing the root causes of fatigue, high blood pressure, and inflammation, all while empowering believers to view health as part of their divine calling. We have a lot to unwrap and unravel today, and I cannot wait to get started. And if you have not subscribed to Success Profiles Radio on Apple Podcast or iTunes, please do that. Leave a 5-star review. That would mean an awful lot to us. So here we are with my very special guest, John Jubilee. John, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Well, Brian, I am awesome and amazing, and I'm so honored to be here.
And I'm glad you're here too. We've known each other a while, but we haven't really talked. So I'm very glad that we finally have a chance to do that. So tell us a little bit about your path. Did you envision early on that you'd be where you are now?
I never envisioned this in a million years. Yeah, I really was I was a banker. I was a banker right out of college, and I had quite a run in banking and had a lot of great success. Was managing over 100 bank branches in my early 30s. But Brian, life can really throw you some curveballs in there. And so, I ended up basically where a lot of people are, out there. I was in my late 30s and had all the money in the world. But man, I had a health and wellness journey that was really like an up and down roller coaster. How many of you guys listening can relate to that? Up and down, up and down, up and down. And so I tried all the protocols and the diets and the supplements and everything that money could buy. And what I found out was it all was a bunch of false hope for sale. And I was buying it because I was really desperate, Brian. I was bone on bone in both my knees. If there's anyone out there that has ever lost all your cartilage in a shoulder or a hip or a knee, I lost it in both my knees, Brian. And so that's when I realized that, when they said you got to go get that surgery to replace both your knees, which is more like a garage project, they just cut them out, like cutting out, sawing boards. They just cut your knees out and put a couple fake ones in. And I just didn't want to go through all that. And so I went and started doing a lot of research. And my research led me, I can tell you, I studied tens of thousands of pages of science and peer-reviewed studies. But I can make it really simple for our listeners today, Brian, that are joining us, is all of human health comes down to two simple things. Number one, we are basically a giant bag of cells. We're just like a big bag of cells, about 37 trillion cells, by the way, with a T. So we're like a big bag of 37 trillion cells. However, those cells can be completely dehydrated, like glass marbles, or they can be porous, like a healthy sponge, a porous sponge. And I realized that 99.9% of us are just a big bag of marbles. Our cells have become oxidized and, through stress and cortisol and life and all those things, they make our cells as hard as a glass marble. So I realized, well, how do you change that? You have to change the cell. And so I created a protocol for myself, Brian, that would transform my body at the cellular level so that my cells would become the sponges. When that happens, now the healthy hydration can get in, the healthy nutrients can get in, and our body can reverse age, and it can reverse any ailment and disease in our body. That was my journey.
Wow, that's fantastic. And obviously it works. I know you're in your 60s and you look like you're 45.
Well, thank you for saying that, brother. And I am. I'm 65 years young, and I really am 65 years young. And just on a funny note, that's just a side effect. I can honestly say to anybody, if I was on a polygraph, right now, I'm telling you, I never cared about how I looked. I really did not. I wasn't trying to look young. I wasn't trying to look lean. I just wanted to feel better, Brian.
Yeah.
I had high blood pressure. I had hypertension. Now, I did look like I swallowed a truck tire. I'm not going to lie. I had a 10-inch belly. And so it's not that I didn't want to lose some weight, but I really didn't care if I lost the weight. I really just wanted to feel better, and I wanted to be healthy. And I'm happy to tell people it was a side effect that when I finally did get healthy, and I did lose 10 inches in my waist, which men, that's a lot, right? Ladies, that's a lot if you lose 10 inches in your waist. But more importantly, I gained my cellular hydration. I optimized my cells. I really did reverse age. My wife says I look better now, than I've ever looked. And I am a full-on senior citizen, man. I'm 65 years old. So,
Wow.
So those are cool side effects.
Absolutely. And as you built your business, what would you say was your rock bottom or defining moment?
Well, this is a great question. And I hope this really inspires some people here today, which was my first 11 years, I did it for free. I did it for free. So I was still in banking, and I was one of the top 10 bankers in America. I was very successful, helping lots of people in the banking world and with their financial situations. And so I loved my job as a banker, but this became my passion because when you discover something that everybody needs and nobody knows, that's a powerful combination of two things in life. And so I ended up spending about 2 hours a day working in my banking career for the next 11 years, and about 8 hours a day just helping people for free to reverse, their weight issues, their autoimmune disorders, high blood pressure, diabetes, spinal stenosis, joint pain, whatever their issue was. I had the answer. I had the treasure map of how they could reverse and get healthy. And so for the next 11 years, I was helping thousands of people for free. And when they would come to me, Brian, they'd say, John, you did a miracle for someone in my family or one of my coworkers. Can you help me? And I had one answer, Brian, for 11 years to every person. And it was this. It was, I don't know. Let's see. Because I never wanted to give someone false hope. I only wanted to share what I knew for a fact. But after 11 years, Brian, I'm here to tell you, and I'll finish my story. After 11 years, I changed my answer, and I would look people in the eyes and say, I 100% guarantee you we can reverse that. because I had seen it. 11 years of thousands of people of a track record of every disease you could possibly name, and irreversible diseases, Crohn's disease, Lyme's disease, IBS, diverticulitis, you name it. Psoriasis, people that had skin issues their whole life, their skin would reverse age 20 years. But after 11 years of doing that, Brian, now I'm not going to name drop this guy, but everyone that's listening knows who he is. And he had, now this was 17 years ago. This guy had 12 million followers 17 years ago. He was way ahead of his time. But he sat me down after 11 years of helping people, and I was in, like a high-level businessmen's, group with him. And I was kind of eagles, a bunch of eagle business guys. And so, but one day he just sat me down, knee to knee, toe to toe, pointing his finger in my face. He said, "John Jubilee, you have to go full-time in health and wellness. You are going to change the world." He said, "No one in the world knows what you know. No one in the world can do what you can do." He said, "This is your God calling in life, is to go help people get healthy." And I just looked at him and said, "Mr. Monetize It, are you out of your mind?" I said, "I am one of the top 10 bankers in America, man. I have 20 years invested in my career." He said, "John, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, this is your God calling. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I got 800 employees. I will give you my whole staff for free to build your business plan." He said, "You got to go do this." And that day, Brian, I walked out of his office. I said a very simple prayer. I said, "God, are you really calling me to go help people get healthy?" And I heard it clear of that voice in your heart. I heard the Lord say, "Yes, John, I am. You just walk by faith. I'll give you every connection. I'll give you every resource. This is your real calling." And in 72 hours, I gave away my company, and I have been full-fledged on for the next 17 years of helping tens of thousands to get healthy at the cellular level.
Wow, that's amazing. I absolutely love that story. That's great. So when things get tough, what causes you to not give up?
Oh, well, 100%, it's my faith. It's absolutely my faith. I had a very dramatic upbringing. I grew up in the inner city called the Bottoms of Columbus, Ohio, and they called it the Bottoms, Brian, because it was one step below the projects. 5 of my friends were murdered. Both of my brothers were murdered. I had a dozen murder attempts on my life since I was 9 years old, and up. And so when you grow up in that environment, the good thing that comes out of it is you learn perseverance. You learn to be a fighter. You fight to live, but you also fight not just to stay alive, but so you can fulfill a destiny. And I always had a great sense of destiny on my life, that this is not going to be my life. I'm not going to live in this neighborhood. I'm going to do something great with my life. And so what normal people would think is a hard thing, to me is like a flea on a dog. It's just like what I call flicking fleas. And so when adversity comes, I say, hallelujah, this is awesome. When there's adversity, when there's resistance, it means something great is about to happen. Continue to press forward.
Fantastic. We're coming up against our first break. My very special guest this week is John Jubilee, and we are talking about getting healthy, and we're going to be talking about hydrating at the cellular level and so much more. I cannot wait to explore this topic in earnest when we come back. This is Success Profiles Radio. We'll be right back. Okay, the commercials are playing in the background. We can talk privately for a minute or two.
Okay, awesome. Hey, I started on radio, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to have a 2-hour radio shows from 10 to 12 a.m. every Sunday in Nashville, Tennessee on Super Talk 99.7.
Wow. I bet you had some really great conversations about this.
Oh, you know what? No, so joyful. But yeah, you're kind of giving me some, sweet memories of the radio days where you have to have a hard stop. And
Yep. Yep. I am 2 months away from my 14-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Thank
so
you.
great.
I
Way to
think
go,
this-
Brian.
I think this is episode number 624. So yeah, I've been doing this for a minute.
That is so cool. Congratulations, brother. That's,
you.
hey, that's endurance, man. That's being steadfast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So many people live their lives wanting more than they currently have. And this show will clearly demonstrate the principles: if I can do it, you can do it. So let's get back to the show. This is Success Profiles Radio. And here again is your host, Brian K. Wright.
And we are back. This is Success Profiles Radio. My very special guest this week is John Jubilee, and we are talking about cellular health and hydrating our cells from the inside out. And if you have not subscribed to Ultimate Achievers Magazine, you can go to ultimateachieversmagazine.com. The November issue got released a couple weeks ago, and I would be honored if you check it out. You can subscribe and read every single issue we've done at ultimateachieversmagazine.com, and the first 7 days is only $1. You can't even shake a stick at that. So, John, let me ask you a question that I ask a lot of people. What do you think is the highest value skill anyone can develop?
Well, I truly believe that is communication is the highest value skill that anyone could ever develop. I know this, that the number one challenge of Fortune 500 companies, of CEOs, 70% of them say communication is the biggest challenge that they have. Mm-hmm. And so for all of us, when we think of communication, though, Brian, I think most of us naturally think speaking. We think about speaking, but I would encourage people to focus more on your listening.
Yes.
God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We should listen twice as much as we speak. And I would share this, just a golden nugget for all of us to take away. Every human being within the sound of our voice right now can hear 7 times faster than we speak. Mm-hmm. That means they have 6 seconds to go take a vacation. Every time we begin talking, 6 out of every 7 seconds, they could go away and come back and go away and come back. So what happens, though, when we do that, when we're not intentional listeners to focus in on knowing, no, I want to hear every word, we're going to go take a vacation and we're going to miss things that people are saying. So number one is to be an intentional listener, to make sure that you do not take the vacation and go away. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So stay focused on what people are saying to us. And then the other thing is ask a clarifying question. This is what I heard you say. Is this correct? And let them make the corrections to what we misheard, because the sender is responsible for the meaning, not the listener. The sender is responsible. So put the responsibility back by asking qualifying questions. That's the most important skill in life, is communicating with the double emphasis on the listening.
Absolutely. What do you think is the most expensive mistake you've ever made? It can be financial, it doesn't have to be. It could be something you held on to for way too long or didn't start soon enough.
Oh, great question. So I for sure would say the most expensive mistake I ever made is not being proactive with my health. I was not, even though my grandfather taught me a lesson, I did not implement what my grandfather taught me, which is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So when it comes to our health, I wish I would have invested in my health at a younger age, so that I could have avoided having high blood pressure, having hypertension, being overweight, having joint issues. I wish that for sure was the most expensive price I ever paid for anything, was delaying getting myself in optimal health at the cellular level.
Fantastic answer. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. Why are we less healthy as a nation than we have been perhaps ever?
Oh, great question. And by the way, I would scientifically say it is not perhaps. We are the unhealthiest we have ever been. Mm-hmm. We are more overweight than we have ever been. The world is more overweight than it's ever been. We take more prescription medication than we have ever taken in human history. And just a little side fact for our American listeners, in America, we are 5% of the world's population, 5%. We take 75% of all the drugs in the whole world in America. And why do we do that? Because we are the first generation, Brian, that has ever been systematically brainwashed with drug commercials. Now, I'm 65 years old. When I was a little boy, there was no such thing as a drug commercial. Right. There were no drug commercials on television. And for drugs we can't even buy without our doctor giving it to us. So we are the first generation in history that ever walked into our doctor and said, oh, give me the purple butterfly pill, or give me the pill that said it'll solve this or this or this or this. we have been absolutely brainwashed. The other thing is with all of the added ingredients to foods. So when I grew up, I could buy a box of Cheerios cereal. It had 5 ingredients in it. Today, the same box has 19 ingredients into it. Well, what is that other 14 ingredients? All it is processed food additives that are chemicals that are terrible for us. And it's the same thing, guys. You could go look this up yourself. So 30 years ago, McDonald's had way better ingredients. Kentucky Fried Chicken had way better ingredients. Breakfast cereals had way better ingredients. No, they've added all these chemicals, and the body is not designed to be able to deal with those. And especially if we are chronically dehydrated, we really can't deal with it. Now, I will give a little ray of hope here, a little asterisk though, Brian, is when you have intracellular hydration flowing through your body, it will flush everything out. It'll flush out the toxins, it'll flush out the inflammation, it'll flush out the negative chemicals that we're taking. But we are absolutely in the worst weight condition, the worst health condition we've ever been because of all the stresses. And the other thing is with all the social media and all the scrolling that people do, it is taxing to the human mind. We were never made to take in, so much outside information being perpetually, driven to us. And all of those things put us, and again, another fact, our testosterone is 30 to 50% lower than it's ever been as men.
Yeah.
As men in America. There's men in their 20s that already have erectile dysfunction. That never happened 30 years ago. That never happened. That was not an issue among young men, but it's becoming an epidemic of men from 18 to 29 years old. Tremendous increase, millions of them with erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, that should never ever happen. So I've heard you say that even though we do drink a lot of water, our cells are still dehydrated. That premise sounds really counterintuitive. Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you asked about this. And I love to always just share real stories of real people. And so I had a really high level couple from California, that came in and they said, well, we were highly recommended to you, but we don't really think we need your program. We drink 2 gallons a day of Kangen water, reverse osmosis, ionized water. We spent $6,000 for our machine. Surely we're hydrated. And I said, well, not necessarily. I said, if you take your big bag, of marbles, right, your cells representing the marbles and your bag representing your human flesh, I said, if you pour 2 gallons of water on a bag of marbles, how much is going to get in there? None. None is going to get in there. I said, so let's measure your hydration. I measured their hydration. They were both about 20 pounds low. 20 pounds low of hydration, drinking 2 gallons a day of $6,000 water. So they were shocked, but I wasn't shocked because I'm looking at them thinking they look dehydrated to me. So it doesn't matter how much you pour through the glass marbles, it all ends up in the toilet. And so that's what happened to this couple. So they did up my protocol. And when they did this protocol, an amazing thing happened. Of course, they gained all their intercellular hydration. Now, by the way, when you gain intercellular hydration, no matter how much you gain, you get smaller. You get smaller. This is what we call the shape shift. So the wife lost about 16 inches, even though she gained 20 pounds of intercellular hydration. The husband lost like 56 pounds of fat, and he gained about 20 pounds of intercellular hydration. But here was the amazing thing. They could not have a baby. They were not able to get pregnant. Why? Because their organs were dehydrated and not optimized. So as their organs got optimized, guess what? They tried having a baby for 10 years, couldn't have one. They got pregnant and had a baby. Wow. And they were older, by the way. So they were shocked. They had like an Abraham Sarah baby. Not quite that old, but they were in their 40s.
Wow. So if water isn't the answer to hydrating our cells, what can we do? I know you mentioned your protocol, but is there anything that we can do ourselves?
Well, here's the challenge for everybody.
Yeah.
Is, first of all, people need to know, Brian, how hydrated they are.
Yeah.
So I would ask people a question. How many of you went to your doctor and he said, oh, as I'm doing all of these blood tests and testing your high blood pressure, your A1C, your blood sugar, your triglycerides, let me measure your hydration level inside your cells. How many people have ever had that happen?
No.
I can tell you, it's not one person. It's not one person. And I learned this because 28 years ago now, when I went to do this, I couldn't find any doctor that could measure it for me. So when I got this revelation, the hydration revelation, that wait a minute, I need to know my hydration. I called every doctor I knew. They said, John, we have no test for that. I started going online, Brian, and researching where can I find a device.
Yeah.
And I found one. It cost $11,000, Brian.
Oh, wow.
In 1997, it cost $11,000, but I knew I needed to know it. And sure enough, I measured myself, and you know, the magic number seems to be everybody's about 20 pounds, which, to give you a picture, 20 pounds of hydration low, so we're 20 pounds dehydrated of our intercellular hydration. A gallon of water weighs 8.3 pounds.
Yeah.
So most people I've measured in the last 28 years are about 2 gallons low inside their cells, 2 gallons low inside their cells. And so the first thing every one of us needs to do is get the measurement. Get the measurement. You know, now we personally, you know, we do a thing for people, you know, for less than $100. For $97, you know, we'll FedEx them a device so that at least they know where they're at. Because again, dehydration, the Mayo Clinic did a big study, and they said 99% of all illnesses, disease is tied to one thing, Brian. Guess what it was?
Dehydration.
Well, close. It was inflammation. But guess what the root cause of inflammation is? Dehydration. So what the Mayo Clinic really solved for us was, oh, so you guys really just proved our science, which this is, you know, we filed a patent on this, by the way. So they proved our science by saying inflammation is the root cause, but we know what the root cause of inflammation is. It is cellular dehydration. So when you get hydrated at the cellular level, you will push out all your toxins, you will push out all your inflammation. That's how you can get healthy at the cellular level. So step one for everyone is get a measurement. Get a measurement so you know what your cellular hydration is.
That is amazing. You can help anyone improve their cellular health in only 88 days. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that's the cellular cycle of a human body is 88 days. Just happens to be a really cool number, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yes, in an 88-day cellular cycle, we have seen nothing short of miraculous. In fact, you know, we have coaches all across America now. You know, our company has really exploded. You know, we're fully medically approved and all of the accolades, you know, that come with helping tens of thousands of people with real results. We have a 99.1%, you know, success rate of helping people, and it doesn't matter, you know, what they have. But part of that 88 days is we just say, look, just commit yourself. Anyone could do anything, right, for 88 days. I mean, everyone's been on some crazy diet, you know, for 88 days. And how many of us lose weight on a diet? We all do. But how many of us keep it off? None of us do.
Right.
We all gain it back. You know, that's why I tell people, like, you know, what diet works? They all work for a minute, you know, but they're not sustainable. And so it's so frustrating. And I was on that roller coaster too for 10 years. You know, I did every diet that everybody that's listening to us did. And they all worked for a minute, but none of them were sustainable. But the great news I can tell you is it's not about your diet. It really is not. It's not about diet. It's not about exercise. You know, that's pretty much the only three things every health expert will tell us, right? It's your diet, you know, it's your diet, it's your exercise, and it's your supplements. That's the only three things they ever talk about. And they just change the order of them to try to act like that they found something new. But the reality is, if those three things worked, everybody in America would be lean and healthy, and we wouldn't be on the meds, and we wouldn't be more overweight than we've ever been. I think 70-80% of us are 30 pounds or more overweight. Think about it. That's like 3 10-pound bags of potatoes. An average American is overweight. So those three don't work. But when you do an 88-day, something that goes to the cellular level, Brian, the reason this works forever, and obviously, you know, you can see me on camera, and people could go look at me on the internet. But you said it, and thank you for saying it. You know, when I meet people in person, they think I'm 40 to 45 years old.
Yeah.
They can't believe it. And I just tell them I'm just a grape. I'm not a raisin. You know, I just didn't shrivel up.
That's right.
You know, but it's because I'm healthy from the inside. But if people will commit, hey, let me do something that will reset my metabolism back how when I was 17 years old. That's the real secret.
Yep, absolutely. And we will be right back after the break. Okay, commercials playing in the background again.
Oh my word, that was a perfect out right there.
It was.
That was a real secret. Boom, we'll be right back.
Yep, absolutely. I saw the tunes and I'm so glad we're on video because I could just do this and you could see me.
Oh, that was so great.
Yeah. Perfect, perfect. Well, I'll ask you about a lot of specific things like how does exercise impact cellular health? How does lack of sleep affect our health? Can cells repair themselves? How does genetics play into this? How does stress play into this? Fasting, mental health. We'll talk about a lot of those specific things because I would imagine people listening would be like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what about this? So we'll talk about some of those what ifs.
Yeah. So do we have 2 more segments?
2 more. We're halfway done.
Oh, perfect. No, and you're exactly right. That is exactly what they're thinking. So you know your audience well.
Yep.
Yeah, I just know from doing so many of the live seminars I've done, when I take live questions, that's exactly, they always go into, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? So yeah, I'll definitely help cover all of those.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And of course, we'll talk about the spiritual and emotional component later on in the show
We
too.
demonstrate the principles. If I can do it, you can do it. So let's get back to the show. This is Success Profiles Radio. And here again is your host, Brian K. Wright.
And we are back. This is Success Profiles Radio. And once again, if you have not downloaded and subscribed to Success Profiles Radio on Apple Podcast or iTunes, please do that. Leave a 5-star review. You can also ask Alexa and go on Spotify and go on Audible and on iHeartRadio and everywhere you can hear great shows like this. In fact, if you have an Alexa, you can say, Alexa, play Success Profiles Radio. You will hear the most recent episode. And after this episode is done, you'll be able to hear this when the replay is available. So how about that? That is so cool. So John, let's talk about some of the what ifs, because people listening hear you talk about get a cellular hydration measurement, and that's the key to all of this. But they might be thinking, well, what about this? What about that? We're going to talk about some of those what ifs right now. So you did allude in the last segment about popular diet plans and how people use those, and they have success for a minute or two and then not so much. So what's wrong with the popular diet plans we've heard so much about over the years?
Well, I'm really glad you asked me this question because I've done them all.
Yeah.
I've done them all. And so, and again, I'm just going to hit it at the top level, but first of all, the universal truth to every diet is they are not sustainable. They're not sustainable, Brian. And why are they not sustainable? Because we have these things in our body called taste buds. And eventually we want to taste food that tastes good.
Yeah.
And our taste buds are saying, hey, I'm craving this, I'm desiring this, because we were born with taste buds. We were created to enjoy food as an experience.
Yeah.
And so people, Brian, that say, oh, you should just eat to live. No, we're not cows. We're not cows. We're not dogs. We don't eat to live. We have taste buds. No, we're supposed to enjoy, our eating experiences. In life, we create memories, right? Weddings and Christmas and Thanksgiving. And no, food is part of culture, forever. And so the universal answer is the diets don't work because they're not sustainable. Now, the scientific answer is they don't work because it's not how your body's even designed. So let's just, probably the biggest diet is the keto diet, which back in my day, that was just called the Dr. Atkins diet. And that's just, eat all your protein and your fats. And so will you lose weight doing that? You better believe it. You will lose weight. you will lose water, you will lose lean muscle, and you will lose some fat. And you will very possibly destroy your digestive system, and it will never function again. You will destroy your metabolism, and it will never come back to its healthy level. You are putting huge stress on your body. You're going to produce cortisol, and you're going to be stressed out, and you're probably going to be in a bad mood a lot because you don't have the healthy glucose and glycogen that your cells need as their number one food source.
Yeah.
So cells need glucose, period, which easily comes from carbohydrate. And when we just eat these all protein diets, guess what happens? Our body still makes glucose. It says, hey, I don't care if you're only going to give me protein, I'll take that protein and I'll convert it into glucose because this body needs glucose, but it's very taxing to the body. It's not supposed to do it that way. That ketosis, everybody, likes to wave their ketosis flags like that's a good thing. You can die from ketosis. You can destroy your kidneys on ketosis. It's not a healthy thing for the long run. And I would challenge anyone that's listening here, find me a person who's been on the keto diet for 5 years and is healthy and lean and lean. Who is healthy and lean after 5 years? Now I know 500 people personally that lost 30 to 50 pounds on keto. And I know every one of them gained it all back.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they put a carb, back in their mouth. And so it's the same for every diet. I'm in California. There's a lot of vegans out here. And hey, I'm just sharing scientifically. Ladies on the vegan diet, you know what? Will they lose some weight? Yes, but they're going to lose their lean muscle. They're going to lose their healthy hydration. They may lose their menstrual cycle. On the vegan diet. Men can lose their sperm count. They can lose their testosterone. I could just go through any and every diet, guys, that we've all tried. And at the end of the day, can I tell you what works? No, it's reset your metabolism back how you were 17 so you can eat anything you like, everything you like in moderation for the rest of your life. That is a lifestyle that works, especially in the United States of America.
Absolutely. So when we are not properly hydrated, we feel tired a lot. What does that do to our cells?
Well, it's both, right? So yeah, when we're dehydrated, then your brain is dehydrated. Every one of your organs, your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, your pancreas, your thyroid, your pituitary, every organ in your body is sluggish because it doesn't have its healthy hydration. It's just like if you went to work all day, every day, and you never took a drink of water, well, imagine your cells are really not getting a drink of water. They're just getting some water running past them every day, but they never really get to absorb any of it because their heart is a glass marble instead of a healthy sponge. And so it totally takes away. And listen to this. This is a scientific fact. If we lose just 10% of our healthy hydration, and most of us have lost more than that, by the way, we can lose half of our brain activity, half our neurotransmitters, half our brain synapses, half of the neural activity we're supposed to have going on is shut off. So it's like driving your car down the road on 2 tires instead of 4. It'll still move, but it's going to be a lot of strain and you're not going to get there the way you want to.
Absolutely. Let's talk about a lack of sleep. That certainly does affect our health and it affects our functioning too, right? How damaging is that?
Well, it really is. And I would just ask people, how many of you out there, you sleep 7 to 8 hours every night in a deep sleep without waking up? Because that's what healthy people at the cellular level do. Healthy people at the cellular level, you lay your head on the pillow, you fall asleep within 10 to 15 minutes, and you don't wake up until the next morning. And you wake up energized. You wake up with vitality like you did when you were 17 years old, getting up on Saturday. Not on a school day, but on Saturday, you're ready, you're rip roaring and ready to go. And the sleep thing is also, do you know that 1 in 7 people listening to the sound of our voice right now struggle with sleep issues? They don't sleep well. And all of that is tied to 2 things. Number 1 is cellular dehydration. And number 2 is they don't uptake the healthy levels of the hormone vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually a hormone. It's not a vitamin. They call it vitamin D, but it really is a hormone, and it is our sleep hormone. And by the way, if you say, well, John, what can I do about that? Let me give you a simple prescription right now. Get out in the sun, no matter how cold it is, just your arms and your face every day with no sunscreen for 20 to 30 minutes. That's like taking 50,000 IU of vitamin D. Your body will uptake it through your skin. That's how we were designed to uptake our hormone of vitamin D, which will help all of us sleep better and sleep deep.
Yeah. How does exercise impact cellular health?
Well, that's a double-edged sword. And the reason I say that is this: I'm all for exercise, but I'm mostly for let's do the right exercise. So moderation is always the key. So a lot of people, Brian, they get all excited. They do a New Year's resolution, and man, then they're going to go run 3 miles a day or 5 miles a day. Well, what they end up doing is they're overtraining, and they produce cortisol. So will they lose weight? Yes. But what is the weight they will lose? They will lose muscle and hydration. They will not lose their fat. They're going to lose their healthy lean muscle, and they're going to lose their healthy hydration. So we really believe in teaching people, hey, start out just with a walk. Start out just with a walk. Don't overdo it. Make sure if you're losing weight, you're only losing fat. And how do we know that? Because we need to measure it. So if you go on our website, you'll see people, they don't say, I lost 50 pounds. They say, I lost 56 pounds of fat. I gained 17 pounds of healthy hydration. I gained 9.4 pounds of lean, healthy skeletal muscle. Because again, I would encourage everybody, don't ever do a weight loss program again. Say this out loud: weight loss is a myth. Weight loss is a myth. No, fat loss is real, but weight loss is a myth. Because any of us could go sit in a sauna all day and lose 10 pounds of what? Of water. Or we could do a crazy exercise program and we're going to lose 10 pounds of lean muscle. And Brian, can I quickly add, every person on those GLP-1s, Ozempic, and any other drug, all those fat loss drugs, you are mostly losing water and muscle. You are losing water and muscle. You are losing water and muscle. Please hear me, hear me, hear me. That is the biggest con job on Americans ever in the history of the universe is, hey, let's all go lose our lean, healthy muscle. Let's lose our healthy hydration. Let's be less healthy, but our scale looks like we lost some weight. Don't get deceived by weight loss.
Wow. That's crazy. So let's talk about stress for a little bit. We've got maybe a minute or so to our break. How does stress play a role in our cellular health?
It plays a huge role. Stress is like the hardener. If the marbles were liquid, stress is the hardener to the liquid marble. It makes them hard as the glass marble. That's what stress does. It comes in all forms. There's oxidative stress, there's cortisol, chemical imbalances in our body. Look, we are a triune being, mind, body, and spirit. And when there's stress coming through your mind, it is death to your body. It is death to your health.
Wow. That's crazy. How does fasting help us clean up our cells? We've got just a few seconds left.
Yeah. Well, fasting is awesome. And definitely after the break, I'll love to share some specific strategies and science of what fasting does for us.
Absolutely. We are coming up against our final break. I cannot believe how quickly this is going. We're talking with John Jubilee of Energized Health, and we are talking about cellular hydration and how we can fix our health if we've been having issues our whole entire lives. And I cannot wait to explore this some more when we come back. This is Success Profiles Radio. Please stay with us. Don't go away. We will be right back. So awesome.
Yeah. Hey, are we on 12 or 13-minute segments?
Of about 13-ish.
Okay, got it.
12 and a half is what Royce says.
Okay, got it.
Ish. Yeah, because we've got like 52 minutes of actual content.
Got it.
And the rest is commercials.
Well, Brian, you are the consummate professional, man. beautiful
you.
on your ins and outs. And yeah, I admire it. I admire it because I know how hard it is.
It is. It is. Knock on wood, I don't screw it up that often. It helps to have a really great producer who keeps time and tells me accurately. I've had a bad experience or two in the past, but Roy's awesome. How long have you been with me, Roy? It's been probably what, close to 10 years now? That sounds about right. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And man, Brian, you have the perfect radio voice too, man.
Thank you.
What great timbre you have to your voice, man. I'm so jealous.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been told that a lot. In fact,
So many people live their lives wanting more than they currently have. And this show will clearly demonstrate the principles: if I can do it, you can do it. So let's get back to the show. This is Success Profiles Radio. And here again is your host, Brian K. Wright.
and down the stretch we come. This is Success Profiles Radio. My very special guest this week is John Jubilee. We were talking about hydrating our cells for optimum health. And if you've been hearing the commercials during the show, you know that I help people write their books. So if you need help writing a book, I'd love to talk to you about it. Whether you have a blank slate and don't have any idea what you're doing, or whether you've started and need help, or whether you have a manuscript and you just want to know what to do next, I'm totally willing to talk to you about any and all of those scenarios. Callwithbrian.com is how you find me. So get on my calendar and let's talk for a few minutes, and we'll see if there's a way we can work together or not. It's totally fine either way. I just want to help. So, John, before we got to this last break, we started talking about how fasting can help us clean up our cells, and you said you wanted to share some extra things about that.
Yeah, so first of all, fasting is awesome. It's an awesome strategy. A lot of people think it's an extreme strategy. But here's what I would encourage you with fasting, which is definitely start with a one day fast, and just drink water. When I say one day, eat dinner one day and just go till dinner the next day. And that's kind of an easy entry point to get into your fasting. Now you want to build up to a 3-day fast, and again, I encourage you only drink water, and drink as much water as you possibly can, because it will help subside your hunger pains. But when you do day one of a fast, your body already starts to, clean itself out. You'll feel amazing after one day. Now, if you'll go 2 days, now the second day, I have to tell you, you may get a little bit of a headache from not eating. You may be a little bit uncomfortable the second day. But if you can make it to day 3, on day 3, an amazing thing happens. Your body kicks in and says, well, Brian is not going to eat, so I guess we need to go eat for him. Let's go eat fat. And so your body starts metabolizing your fat on day 3, and you're not even hungry because you're eating you. And because your body's eating you, you feel an energy surge, you feel more clarity in your mind. Your body enters what's called autophagy, which means it starts eating away your dead, old, bad, or unhealthy cells and reproducing some healthy new cells. So there really is a renewal process to fasting. But more important than all those cool physical things, it's like a spiritual experience. Think of refusing your body. You're telling your body, no, you can't have what you want. I'm going to be more powerful in my mind and my spirit than just a craving. And there's a power of just saying no to your body and to those cravings. You will be spiritually and mentally empowered because of that self-discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about how genetics plays into this. Let's say Alzheimer's runs in your family. How do we minimize the risk of this affecting us down the line?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me this question. So I did a television special with Dr. Thomas Cabell, and we proved scientifically that every human can reprogram their DNA. So it does not matter if every person in your family was overweight, which, by the way, that was my story. My biological father was about 400 pounds. I'm obviously not 400 pounds.
Wow.
We can reprogram our DNA. High blood pressure, arthritis, heart disease, all those ran in my family. I have none of those, not one medical doctor visit in 28 years. But every person in the sound of our voice, you can reprogram your DNA so that you never have to worry about having Alzheimer's or dementia, any of those things that your family has had. You can reprogram them and have a different destiny.
Wow. Let's talk about mental health for a little bit. How does that affect our cellular health?
Well, it dramatically, it impacts more than anything. Cellular dehydration, you have just think of it like 8 blocks, puzzle pieces connected in your brain. Your brain has 8 areas, and then there's all these brain connections of how they talk to each other. Well, when we get dehydrated, it's like somebody walks into the house and turns off 4 lights in 4 of the 8 rooms in the brain. And now we're functioning with half as much as we're supposed to. Well, that can cause anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, and many other mental illnesses can come along with that. So we've seen people that were on 3 to 5, medications for all those type of issues that come off all their medication and completely reverse.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's talk about how our health is a reflection of our spiritual and emotional vitality. That's a really interesting intersection, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it really is. And this is probably my favorite one, by the way, which is, I can tell you that, whether you're a believer in God or not, we can all agree the number 1 selling book of all time is the Holy Bible. It's the number 1 selling book of all time. And so just as a book of wisdom, a book of things that have been documented, and it's the most documented piece of literature on the planet Earth, by the way. So there's more references to it, historical, back it up. But I share all that for this reason. The Bible says, "Beloved, I wish above all things." Okay, so that's like drum roll, right? I wish above all things. Well, what does the Bible say that God wishes above all things? It's that we be in health. That we be in health. It says that you be in health and that you prosper as your soul prospers. So above all things, the biblical principle is for us to be in health, because none of us can fulfill our destiny, no matter how gifted we are or how close we are to God. If we don't have our health, we will accomplish little to nothing in life, and we will depart early. But our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. That area needs to prosper as well. So there is absolutely a triune connection between our mind, our body, and our spirit. And if we don't have health in all 3, we will never have sustainable health. We will not. We have to have all 3. You can eat the most perfect diet, the most perfect exercises, but if you are distraught in your mind and your spirit, you will still die prematurely.
Wow.
And you can make that case.
Yeah. So talking about the emotional component, listening to music, laughing, praying, hanging out with friends, that can actually help ourselves, right?
Without a doubt. And again, I'm going to quote the Bible. The Bible says laughter is like the best medicine.
Yes.
And that word medicine basically means health to your body. Laughter is the best health to your body. And I'll just share an example you wouldn't think I would use is George Burns. George Burns was funny.
Yes.
George Burns was smoking cigars and drinking whiskey, but because he had a great sense of humor, he still lived to 90 years old.
Right.
Bob Hope lived to 100 years old. No, a great sense of humor is one of the healthiest things we can do for ourselves, is to laugh out loud every single day.
Absolutely. So tell us specifically about your program. What is it and who is it for?
Well, I would 100% encourage this for every single person within the sound of my voice. So we have clients from 9 years old to a 92-year-old couple. We have clients from people that had MS in a wheelchair who now can run 5 miles, people who started bedridden, who are now up and living life and doing things, to professional athletes, NBA, the major league baseball players, NFL football players. So whether you're the most elite athlete and you're looking to optimize, or you are in a wheelchair and you're wondering if you're ever going to be able to walk again, I would recommend it for anyone from there to anyone in between. So we've had people that, hey, I just want to do it to lose that last 20 pounds I can't lose. Some people say, I just want to get off this medication that I'm on. Some people say, I just want the energy. Some people say, hey, if I could just get rid of my neck and back pain, it would be worth everything in the world to me if I could just be pain-free. So we've really been able to help tens of thousands of people, and again, I would just encourage people, to do their own research, but this really can help every one of us to have our optimal health at the cellular level, to have full energy, to have full vitality. And Brian, can I just share a personal fun note? Maybe this will inspire somebody. So, you guys, I told you straight up, all I wanted to do was feel better. I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about, taking some picture with my shirt off. No, I didn't want any of that. All I cared about was I want to feel better. But the side effects, not only did I feel amazing like I was 17 and still do to this day, by the way, every year, Brian, I kept getting stronger. I kept getting stronger. And there's a scripture in Deuteronomy, and this is why I kept getting stronger, because it said, as your years are, so shall your strength be.
Yeah.
So every year I'd lift 5 pounds more, 10 pounds more, 5 pounds more, 10 pounds more. I wasn't trying to, do anything amazing. I was just being steady, consistent. Yep. But do you know that at 63 years old, I set the world record for chest press. Wow. I did 555 pounds for all you weightlifters, that 12 45-pound plates. 14 times, Brian, wow. 14 times.
Wow.
So I never dreamed of setting a world record. It was not on my bucket list. It wasn't even a goal. It was just a byproduct of living a healthy lifestyle. And I'm happy to tell you, I've had people that never dreamed they'd be climbing mountains, they would be running marathons, they would be coaching their grandchildren's baseball teams. I love it that I have a whole community of tens of thousands that have done what they never imagined because they took this journey of an 88-day protocol.
Fantastic. How can we work with you if we want to explore that?
Hey, super simple. It's energizedhealth.com, energizedhealth.com. Just go log on and then watch a master class and then book a call with one of our health coaches, and they'll just walk you through everything.
John, thank you so much for being here. You were fantastic. This was really enlightening. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, brother. It's an honor to be here, Brian.
And thanks to all of you for listening. This has been Success Profiles Radio. Please join us every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, where I interview a world-class achiever, learn what they did, what they overcame, and the lessons we get to learn along the way. Until next week, take care, everyone. Goodbye. And we are done. Roy, I think I stumbled when I said Success Profiles Radio for the last time. Can you look at that right at the end?
Yeah, I can grab it from a previous show and make it sound good. So,
you are awesome and amazing. Thanks for producing me again. And John, thank you for being here.
Thank you. And thank you, Roy. Appreciate all you do, brother.
Yep.
Take care.
And Brian, thank you so much for having me, man. I mean it. You are a consummate professional. You're a rock star, brother. Really enjoyed spending time with you.
Absolutely. And if you want to give the show a 5-star review on iTunes, that'd be awesome.
I'll do it.
Fantastic. The replay should be available later this week, and I'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you,
All right.
brother.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, guys.
All right. Bye.